The Super Mario Bros. Movie made all of the money in the box office, and you know what that means for Hollywood. Sequels, series, and spin-offs, baby. Like it or not, we're probably going to be getting a lot more of Chris Pratt's Mario, a lot more of Jack Black's Bowser, and everything else in between. So in this video, I want to take a look at what are the potential sequels we could be getting. Of course, we'll look at the Super Mario Bros. 2, but what about spin-offs like a Luigi's Mansion movie? We'll talk about other Nintendo franchises, and yeah, we'll talk about the long-speculated Smash Bros. Movie. Because like it or not, this movie is doing so well that the NCU is no longer just a far-fetched idea. So I'm Thomas from the Switch Stop, and let's jump right into it. Alright, Super Mario Bros. 2. I'm gonna be ranking all of these movies on how likely they are, then I'll give you a brief description of what I think the plot could be, accompanied with some wonderful animations done by yours truly. The Super Mario Bros. 2 movie is not just likely, it is confirmed. It is confirmed by me, it is confirmed by Hollywood, it is confirmed by everyone except for Illuminations and Nintendo themselves. This movie will happen. You do not have an animated movie that does as well as the Mario Bros. Movie did, breaking records for animation as a whole, and then not get a sequel. If this movie doesn't get a sequel before, say, 2026, I will delete the channel. Here's what the sequel should be. In the wake of Mario and Luigi moving to the Mushroom Kingdom at the end of the first film, Wario and Waluigi try and take up the mantle of plumbing in Brooklyn, but while they're down in the sewers on one of their first jobs, they encounter this weird-looking dinosaur creature. Is it moving? A chase scene ensues, and Yoshi, Wario, and Waluigi are all sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom. That's it. That's pretty much the sequel. From that point on, Wario and Waluigi can accidentally / on purpose free Bowser from the Mushroom Kingdom, and you can have a repeat of the conflict from the last movie, or they could introduce a new antagonist. All I know is that Rosalina better be in this one, because when Princess Peach looks up at the skies and says there's a lot of galaxies out there, in a movie chock filled with so many references, they know what they're doing. Mario Galaxy has to be coming in some aspect. Alright, next let's hit up Luigi's Mansion. I do not think this one's confirmed, but I do think it's pretty likely. I don't think it's confirmed because Charlie Day actually brought it up in his own volition in an interview, saying it's something he'd want to do. And to be honest, if they were already in contact with Charlie Day about doing another movie, I don't think he'd bring that up because there would be all sorts of NDAs and that would just be like a weird maneuver for him to do. So while I don't think it's confirmed, I definitely think it's possible, and here's what I'd like to see. We open on this weird scientist looking guy traveling from a far out country when eventually he gets stranded in the Darklands. At the same time, Mario and Luigi get a flyer for their brand new mansion. Mario can't go, but Luigi does. On his way there, he ends up bumping into this mysterious scientist guy, and then boom, you have Egad, Luigi, and pretty much the entirety of the original Luigi's Mansion plot. To be honest, this movie could even be a little bit scary, but nothing would be as scary as you enjoying this video right now and then not hitting the subscribe button if you're having a good time. We post lots of videos like this, so hit the button to get notified when more come out. Next, let's talk about Donkey Kong Country. This one is even more likely than Luigi's Mansion in my opinion. The Kongs were a surprisingly huge part of the original movie. We got Donkey, Diddy, Dixie, Cranky, an entire tribe of Kongs, and not only that, but the Jungle Kingdom where they all live was the most fleshed out location in the entire movie, that's not counting Brooklyn or the Mushroom Kingdom. Nowhere else had that level of detail, animation. It was just so dense. There was so much going on there, and I don't think they would really necessarily do that. Put in all the effort into making, storyboarding, modeling, animating, creating this world from scratch just for the like 2-minute scene that we get of them driving around there. I don't know exactly what this movie could be, but I think a Seth Rogen Donkey Kong movie probably will happen. All I hope is that if they do a Donkey Kong movie, it is a Donkey Kong movie. In the same way that the Mario Bros. Movie was a love letter to the Mario games, the Donkey Kong movie should be a love letter to the Donkey Kong games. Not just the original arcade game, but Donkey Kong Country too. In fact, if they do a Donkey Kong movie, I would not really want to see Mario in that at all. Maybe at the beginning and maybe at the end, but if they're gonna do Donkey Kong, do right by him. After all, DK is the one who started this entire thing. Story-wise, this doesn't really matter. All we need is King K. Rool stealing some bananas. Maybe he also happens to kidnap like Dixie or something, so Diddy Kong gets in on it. Boom, there it is. Alright, here's the last Mario-related movie I want to talk about, and don't worry, because we'll get into other franchises in a minute. But to be honest, I don't even think this should be a movie. I just think that it's too cute and too adorable of an idea for them not to add in Captain Toad shorts before the next movie. A lot of animation studios do this. The one that comes to mind to me is Pixar, but a lot of companies will put little shorts right before their films. Little animated shorts that are just, you know, wholesome. I don't think Toad from the Mario movie should or could withstand his own movie. He does not really deserve a spin-off, quite frankly. I don't think he was a great character, but I do think some shorts with him would be awesome. Some quick little shorts right before the next movie of Keegan-Michael Key's Toad getting into some hijinks with the Captain Toad theming over the back of it would be so cute. Alright, now let's move on to other Nintendo franchises. Now first let's talk about what Nintendo franchises are not going to get movies. I mean, think about it. In the Mario movie itself, Mario was literally playing Kid Icarus. There was also a model Arwing shown in that movie. I don't know about you guys, but But to me, that pretty much rules out any possibility of those having their own movies in the future, at least in the same universe, because that just doesn't make sense at all. But to be fair, we also saw Charles Martinet's Jumpman playing the original Donkey Kong arcade game, so I guess it could technically just be an Easter egg like that was. Speaking of Easter eggs, there was a Punch-Out themed restaurant, the little cafe thing that they were at, but considering that was in Brooklyn, and the whole point of the restaurant was that it was like celebrating these boxers that I guess in the movie are real, I think a Punch-Out movie definitely could happen, or at least a short or maybe a, spin-off TV show or something. I mean, the world of Punch-Out clearly exists within this world of Mario, so I mean, hey, there we go. However, a lot of Nintendo's biggest franchises, I'm talking Zelda, Splatoon, Animal Crossing, Metroid, none of those got any sort of references, at least that I was able to spot in the Mario Bros. Movie, which means films for those are more than definitely possible. In my opinion, Animal Crossing would work incredibly well as an animated TV show, but not just animated, stop motion animated. I think stop motion Animal Crossing shorts would be probably the cutest thing of all time and break the internet. It would be so on brand with Animal Crossing 2, as the franchise as a whole just gives off that cutesy arts and crafts aesthetic that stop motion is kind of inherently associated with. Next, we have The Legend of Zelda. I would love to see an anime version of Zelda. The Legend of Zelda is a franchise filled with epic stories of war, deception, evil magic, monsters, and a hero who faces them all. I am not a huge anime guy at all. In fact, I've pretty much only ever watched one anime show, and it was Death Note. Loved the show, but I don't know. I'm not huge into anime. But even I can admit that the strengths of anime as a medium fit perfectly with The Legend of Zelda as a franchise. We could finally get the insane visuals that these stories have kind of always needed, but have kind of always been lacking. I mean, think about it. Even in Breath of the Wild, we never got to really see the Great Calamity. Zelda anime would be awesome, and then last but not least, Splatoon is one of Nintendo's biggest franchises, and honestly, I know exactly how they should go with this. It might seem weird, but the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie has a very interesting aesthetic. It's kind of Spider-Verse slash Puss in Boots-esque, but it takes it way further, and because it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and they fight people and there's ooze and they live in a sewer, it's like kind of gross and grimy and yucky. But if you could imagine this style cleaned up a little bit and then just absolutely nuked with color to fit with the Splatoon universe, I think it would be super cool. It would be visually awesome because obviously a Splatoon movie would have to be super colorful and super vibrant, but it would also be very visually cool and kind of reflect the cool, laid-back, skater-esque nature that Splatoon and its fashion kind of give off. Maybe that's just me who sees that, but I don't know. Inkopolis, like, they're like hipsters. They're hipster kids. They can also turn into squids and shoot people, and that's why I want to see a movie of it so bad. Please, Nintendo. Oh my god. But now it's time. Let's talk about the possibility of a Super Smash Bros. Movie. In my opinion, the problem with Nintendo going ahead and making a Mario movie, and then a Zelda movie, and then maybe a Metroid movie, maybe a Splatoon movie, Animal Crossing movie, all leading up to a big Smash Bros. Movie, is just simply who's gonna make them. Because Nintendo has partnered with Illuminations. That doesn't mean they can't make movies on their own or go to other animation studios, but this is Illuminations' version of Mario as much as it is Nintendo's. You might not like hearing that, but from a business perspective, that's just the case. They made the movie. So unless Nintendo were to let Illuminations also make the other movies that are outside of the Mario realm, such as, I don't know, a Legend of Zelda film or a Metroid film, which in my opinion would not fit at all with Illuminations' track record, past catalog, animation style, or anything of the such. I do not think Illumination should make those movies, and I don't think they will. I don't see that as a project they're willing to take on. So that just means that the Smash Bros. Movie is probably, how should I put this? Not gonna happen. Dead. Nada. Nothing. Never in a million years gonna come out. Because in order for something like that to work, pretty much every single one of these movies would have had to been made by the same studio. There is still technically a possibility that it happens because Illuminations as a studio is actually owned by Universal, and Universal also owns DreamWorks, so maybe DreamWorks would take on like a Metroid movie, which again, they wouldn't be my first choice, but hey, that new Puss in Boots was really freaking good, so I don't know, I'll let them cook. To be honest though, as much as a Smash Bros. Movie would be really cool, I honestly think we shouldn't get it. We would get a much higher quality stories if Nintendo didn't have to worry about building to one big event and all the legal troubles and, finding the correct animation studios that goes with that. Because again, it would all have to be done by the same team. I think instead, Nintendo should just keep their franchises separate and focus on telling great stories within those storied franchises. For example, Nintendo Pictures partnered with Illuminations for the Mario movie, but what if they worked with a cutesy stop-motion animation studio for an Animal Crossing movie? Or they found an anime studio for The Legend of Zelda? I think that would make a lot more sense, be a lot more fair, and lead to overall better quality products, even if it's not leading to one big event that we need Damn. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments below though. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the Nintendo Tonight button on screen right now. That'll take you to our podcast. We're going to be talking about the movie a lot more there, so just stay tuned.